Now we're going to go ahead and attack the front lower bulkhead preparation. So we're going to go ahead and take these parts out right here. By the way, if it gets tough to take a piece out, remember that there are holes here to push the parts out, just in case. So now we're going to go ahead and get the GL Delrin ball joints. And for the time being, we're going to just need 2. Now, what is really important here, to ensure proper motion of your kingpins later on, is to ensure that these parts or these balls, the flashing here, the extra material here is not there. So you can see here that there's extra material. So to take this extra material off from the machining, you can use a body reamer, and you see that there's 2 sides to it. There's the flat side here, and there's like an indented side. It's a bit difficult to see. Oops. But what we're going to do is, on the flat side, we're going to take the reamer and gently ream to take any extra flashing or material which has not been removed properly. There we go. This is basically 99% of the issue with any binding front end. So there we go. We've done all 4, so it's out of the way. So what we're now going to do is we're going to install them. So we install them exactly the same way as we would do with any other traditional ones. You turn this 90 degrees and press it down. Once it's 90 degrees, right inside. There we go. And then you rotate it. You take and you should make sure that, so this is the bottom side, so make sure that the indent is on the bottom side. Just turn it around there to ensure that there is that it's nicely secured inside. And same thing with the other side, which is the right side of the bulkhead, lower bulkhead. So just locate the side with the recess, which is going to face the ground. Press it in 90 degrees and then turn it 90 degrees. There we go. So then your lower bulkhead is ready, and we're going to we're going to proceed with the same thing with the upper bulkhead. So same thing, this is installed from the front, on the top. The balls go in 90 degrees, and then you're going to turn it 90 degrees so that basically the recess side is on the top. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to prepare the servo. This is where you're going to need the Phillips screwdriver. But first we're going to remove the servo horn. Remember, the servo horn has to be centered in advance. So you would have to plug this into your receiver and ensure that the servo horn is in the correct neutral position so that you don't have to undo it later on. That's an important step to save time in the future. So now we're going to use the Phillips screwdriver to take the screw off. Then we're going to insert the servo horn onto the servo horn. Going to ensure that the servo is in the right position. Can go ahead and install and secure the screw. Make sure that this is nice and flush. See? And then take this screw and secure the servo horn assembly together. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and get the 3.5 millimeter ball joint heads. Using our 1.5 millimeter Allen, we're going to secure these into place. So they're installed in the back. There you go. And that's the end of the servo prep. Now we're going to attach the lower front bulkheads onto the chassis, like so. And to do that, we're going to need 2 3mm screws and 2 5mm screws. So let's get that ready. I like to start with the 5mm screws. So ensure that the holes are square and lining up. And screw the 5mm. So I'd compress the bulkhead onto the chassis and screw the 5mm one all the way in. Don't tighten it, over tighten it, or don't tighten it fully yet, because we're going to come and screw the 3mm screw at the back. There we go. Perfect. Same thing on this side. So I start with the 5mm screw, which goes in the middle hole. So I'm going to square everything up. Sandwich them together. Not to over tighten for the moment, rather fully tighten. Once the rear 3mm screw is fixed, then you can tighten the front one. So there we go. The lower bulkhead installation is complete, and now we can move on to installing the servo on the car. So the servo wires are more or less pre-bent for the positions, so it should be installed like so. So what I do is I put the servo in this position, press it down into its place, and then using tweezers I twist the wire so that the black wire is facing upwards, and then I install it back in the recess to have a cleaner cable management. So that's what it should look like when you've installed the servo.